Today we're looking at exercise 9G on summarizing data on page 603 of your textbook. So a lot of these words are words you guys have heard of. So things like mean, things like median, and mode. Thank you very much. There's two more that you may or may not have heard of. First one we've got, well, range, thank you, but we're not really working with that today. But range is a very important one. And the other one, I'm hearing a lot of chat up the back. To have outliers, which is something that we will discuss in a second. So first things first, mean. What is the mean? What does mean mean?
The number.
The mean number, yeah? Lucy? Yeah, perfect. And there's another word very commonly used, starts with A.
Average.
Average, perfect. It's the average of something, right? The average of a set of data. Now, what I mean by set of data, it can mean anything, right? So if I said every single person in this classroom has $10 on them, let's say. Okay, let's say everyone has $10 on them. What would the average amount of money per person or the mean amount of money per person be? $10, easy. So the average, we can actually use this formula here. So X with the line on top means the average or means mean. And we can say that the mean is the sum of all values
Mean is the average.
divided by the number.
Number of things that there are.
Perfect. Number of numbers. Let's do number of values. So, for example, let's say Jaden has $5, James has $10, and Will has $15.
Rich kid.
Rich kid, let's go. $15 is not that much, but $15, let's say. Then how many people do we have? We have 3 people, and a total of how much money?
30.
So 5, 10, 15 gives us 30.
Which is 10, and that's divided by 3.
Perfect. So 30 divided by 3, so $30 between all of them, divided by the number of people, which is 3, gives us $10 per person on average. All right, the median. The median is a very interesting one. Have you ever used median in real life? Has anyone ever asked you, what is the median of this in real life? No, average is one that we use a lot more, but what does median mean? The median is the number in the middle. In the middle of our data set, okay? Now, like I said, median is one that we don't really use in everyday life because it's not as helpful to the general public. People don't really listen to it as much. But if I said, what is the difference between the mean and the median? Well, we know that the median is the number in the middle, as in we're organizing the numbers and we're picking the one in the middle, whereas the mean tells us the average. But what's the difference? Let's say, did you want to give it a go?
It's just like if we average, it's just like you're dividing all levels. Maybe it's the safest 10 numbers, the 10 numbers, maybe it's one of them.
Yeah, sometimes, you're right, sometimes it's a lot more easier to say the average of a certain set of data. Let's go back to the situation. Everyone has $10, okay? Everyone has $10. What's the average?
5.
How many people are there?
As much as, let's say there's 20 people in this classroom. Every single person has $10. So what is the average or the mean? 10. Everyone on average has $10. Makes sense, right? Now, what is the median? If I was to put out write down how much everyone has, so 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, blah, 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 what number would be in the middle?
10.
10, too easy. Now, let's say Elon Musk walks in with his $1 billion worth. What is the average now? It's like, what, 1 million each? It's 5 million each. But the average, if I say the average, that doesn't really make sense. It's not like on average we have 5 million each. That's not how it works. In that case, the median tells us a more accurate bit of information, because the median, it would still be, for example, 10, 10, 10, blah, 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 and then 1 billion. And so if I say, well, what number is in the middle, and I've run out of space to write zeros, what number is in the middle? It'd still be a 10. And in which case, it's more of an accurate bit of data than the average. So they're two different things, but all you need to know is how to find both of them. So if I give you a set of data, how to find the mean and the median, and we'll go through that in a second. Any questions so far? No? What's the mode? Perfect. Amount of times the number comes up. Let's say most common value. Okay? Most common value. So, for example, same situation, except let's say people have different amounts of money. If most people here had $10 on them, then the mode would be $10. Now, in real life, when would you ever care about the mode?
Never.
Yeah?
Possibly when collecting data.
Yeah? Collecting data, yeah? Yeah. Now, a really good example is if any of you want to become restaurant owners,
No.
if, this is an example in particular, if you want to be a restaurant owner, you have to know when you get the most customers coming in through the day, right? So you might have a lot of people coming in at maybe 8 a.m., 9 a.m. for some breakfast, but then about like 11 a.m. no one comes in because it's only just for people that are hungry still at the time, right? So mode tells us information that, how much gives the most information in terms of when is this value the most common. But let's say you have a McDonald's, right? When is it most popular? Weekend, sure. Let's say throughout the day. Lunchtime, I heard lunchtime, what else?
Dinner.
Do people have McDonald's for dinner?
Yes.
Okay, let's say lunch and dinner. Okay? Let's say lunch and dinner is the most common time for McDonald's. I'm aware they also have a breakfast menu, but let's say lunch and dinner is the most common. You'll end up with let's say this is time, and this is number of customers. This is just an example. And my data might look like this. Okay? So you can see, well, that's probably lunch over here. That's probably dinner over here. I can't spell. Dinner. Okay? This is what we call bimodal. What does bi mean? No, you say it. I know what you guys are thinking. What does bi mean? Bisexual, right? Bisexual means bi means two, right? Bicycle, bi, two wheels, right? So bi means two. In this case, bimodal means that there are 2 points of data that are the most common here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Perfect. What if I had this? Okay. So let's say lunch happens, we get a certain amount of people coming. Dinner happens, we get a certain amount of people coming. And then all of a sudden after dinner, there's a huge spike.
Gordon Ramsay came and reviewed the place.
Sure, Gordon Ramsay came in and reviewed the McDonald's menu. Now this is a completely random thing that just happened, right? It's not something that tells me, every lunch we can say that, there's about that many people. Every time we have dinner, it's about that many people. But it's not like after dinner, we're going to suddenly get this huge spike in numbers, right? This is what we call an outlier. Okay? We call it an outlier. It's data that is very different. I'm hearing a lot of chat up the back. Can we keep that down? Thank you. Very different from the rest. Okay? So it's a good idea to be able to identify when things are very different. If you went around and surveyed people how many times they have junk food in a week, and most people say let's say 7, 6, whatever, 5. I know it's a lot, but let's say most people say that. And then you have this one kid that for some reason has McDonald's 40 times a week. I'm not saying who it is. I'm saying there's one kid for some reason has McDonald's 40 times a week, right? That's an outlier. Most people don't have McDonald's 40 times a week. So that person would be an outlier. Do I have any questions? Any questions?
What does range mean?
Range, we're not really working with range for this exercise, but range is just what's the difference between the most and the least. So for example, with the amount of times people have McDonald's in a week, if some person has 40 times, that's the highest, then it's 40. But then the smallest value, let's say someone eats McDonald's never, so it'd be 0. So the range would be 40. Yep, perfect. Yes, Lucy. Data that is very different from the rest. Yep. Alright, I'm going to give you guys a set of data, and then we're going to go through, find the mean mode and mean, median, mode, and then we can just get started from there. Okay? So let's say I have 1, 6, 7, 8, 11. Your nines. So how do I find the mean?
Sum of all values divided by the number of values.
Perfect. Add them up. What's 1 plus 6?
7.
Plus 7.
14.
Plus 8.
25.
How do you do that?
14 plus 8.
Yes, it was
14 plus 8 is?
26.
20.
Oh, 22.
22, thank you. Plus the 11.
33.
33. So we have a total of 33 divided by what?
7. 7.
5. That's what the middle number.
How many do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 33 divided by 5. Can anyone find that in the calculator for me?
6.
Never mind, it's 6.6. I did it in my head. Alright, so that's the mean. How do I find the mode?
It's the most common number.
Is any of them most common?
Well, there's no more.
Perfect, none.
You're right.
What about the median?
7. 7.
1 second. Your nines. As I was saying, the median is the number in the middle. Nikia, thank you very much. We're going backwards from both sides, so 1, 2, and we're going 1, 2. It gives us an answer of 7. That's it. Do I already have any outliers for this data? Is any of this data completely random, completely different?
No.
No, so we don't really have an outlier. And that's it.
Alright, leave it there now.
Yep, absolutely. Do I have any questions?
No. I get it.
No? Okay.